Good morning. Welcome to Unity Church of Sun Lakes, where we honor the universal truths in all religions and help people discover and live their spiritual potential in Jesus. Jesus is our way shower, and so we focus a lot of our attention here on the teachings of Jesus. I'm Reverend Jeanne, Laughlin, the senior minister of this church, and I've been here since May of 2019, and I love it. I love what I do. I love being here. I love this community. I want to thank Jeanne Baker this morning for bringing these gorgeous flowers. Is that the representation?
Yes, please.
What? Right? Thank you, Judy, for bringing them.
I'm not sure where Baker came from.
What did I say,
Sure.
Baker?
I don't know. Is that a look into the future?
Remind me.
Adams.
Judy Adams. I don't know where Baker came from. You're a great baker. Our musician for today is a very dear friend of mine. Known each other for 15, 20, 25 years, I'm not sure. We met back at Unity Church of Mesa, where we used to sing together. They just put us together. Help me welcome Cerise Patron.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
How are you? It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Yes, it is.
I'm not hugging because I woke up with a little something. I don't want to give it to you. And because I love you and I appreciate you and I want to support you all. So we're going to sing together today. And so we're going to have the lyrics up on the board here. We're singing a Ricky Byer song, I'm Choosing Heaven. So if you feel like standing, I would love for you to do that. If you want to sing out, it doesn't matter what your voice is. Sing with everything you have. Singing is healing and loving and connecting. And today we are choosing heaven. We are choosing something higher than what we have seen before. So will you choose that with me?
Yes.
Yes, let's do it. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing love today. I'm choosing love today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing I'm choosing love today. I'm choosing peace today. I'm choosing peace today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing I'm choosing peace today. I'm choosing joy today. I'm choosing joy today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing I'm choosing joy today. I'm choosing compassion today. Sorry. I choose compassion today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing I choose compassion today. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing I'm choosing heaven today. I am walking the road of heaven right now, singing I'm choosing heaven.
we have any newcomers here today? I know we have a few. And if you would be so bold as to introduce yourselves, and we would really love to hear from you. So would anyone be brave enough to introduce?
No pressure.
I'm Janet Fries. I'm from Naperville, Illinois, and we have a small house out here, but we haven't been out for a couple of years because of COVID. So anyway, we're out visiting till March, hopefully.
Wonderful.
I'm Dorothy Cameron. I'm also from Naperville, Illinois, and the same story. I'm with her.
Somebody else?
Yeah.
Somebody else want to introduce yourself?
Yes.
I'm Terry Masterson. Been going to Unity for years, but this first time in this church. Originally from Mesa, so I'm thinking.
I'm Charmaine Masterson, his wife. So it's our first time, so you'll see us again, I'm sure.
Yay, wonderful.
Thank you.
I'm Deb Beth. I'm from Madison, Wisconsin, visiting my sister-in-law and brother-in-law here for 6 weeks.
Wonderful. How did you guys hear about us? Just curious.
Newspaper.
Newspaper.
Okay.
We've got Kay Davis to thank for that.
Thank you, Kay.
Thank you, Kay. She does such a wonderful job with our newspaper articles every month. It's a thankless job because we forget to bring it up, but Kay does a phenomenal job doing that newspaper article monthly. So let's say our welcoming statement together. We love you, we bless you, and we welcome you. And now our opening prayer will be by someone very new to our community, and so grateful that you volunteered to come up and do our opening prayer. So let's welcome Mark Holmes.
Thank you. I was a teacher. I don't need a mic. My wife always tell me, lower your teacher voice. Need it for the video? All right. It's a great crowd. It's great to see this many people here. We have to add new seats here pretty soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here we go. Well, welcome everybody. Good morning.
Good morning.
Pray with me if you would. Thank you, God, for your living truth as it speaks to me in unmistakable ways. I still my body. I still my mind. I relax completely. I surrender myself to you, God. Fill me with your presence as I listen in the silence. While listening in the silence, God, I hear your call. I feel you drawing me closer to the realization of your presence in my life. I hunger to know you more. I want to love you more and serve you more. I am willing to let you take charge of my life. Show me your way, God, for I am ready to serve and be a source of your light in the world. And so it is.
So it is. And now our daily word will be led by Reverend Julia Norton.
Okay, it's Sunday, January 22nd, and it's power. Woohoo! My thoughts and words reflect my divine inheritance. When I listen to my inner conversation and recurring thoughts, I may hear fear-based, limited talk, or I may hear positive words encouraging me to live joyfully and confidently. The choice is mine. Through my divine gift of power, I take control of my thoughts and my life. I release thoughts of powerlessness, and as I do, my negative self-talk diminishes. I affirm my divine inheritance of faith, wisdom, understanding, and strength with my thoughts, words, and actions. The power to live a full life is mine. I embrace insights I've gained through experience. I own my mistakes without shame or embarrassment. I am eager to learn. I am willing to try new things and stretch myself. In power, I thrive. And from Proverbs 18:21, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. And so it is. Have a wonderful week.
And now let's say our prayer that the prayer team has put together for us to pray for our church. Together, Unity Church of Sun Lakes is a beacon of love and light. We welcome all with open hearts and open arms to express their divine potential. We come together in oneness in creating peace, health, and happiness in our church community and the world. Divine order guides our church as it prospers and grows, providing healing, love, hope, and friendship to all. And so it is. And now we will have Cerise lead us into meditation with a beautiful song that, is this yours? Yes, you wrote the song.
Beautiful songwriter.
There is no place where love is not, no place where I am never alone. There is no place I stop and the one begins, for I am always home. I am always home, yeah, for I am always home.
Wow.
Good luck, Reverend Maria Blending. You speak right now.
Good morning, everyone. I know that we're still in the beginning of the year, just what is it, the third week in January. And I know we've been talking about change this month. And one of the things about change is sometimes there's things we have to let go of before we can fully change. So I'm going to do a guided meditation today about the process of letting go. So if you'll just now close your eyes and sit back and just relax and begin to take that deep breath in, that God breath that we know. And feel it as it just fills you and surrounds you, that deep breath. And just get easier and easier and get in touch with that God, that perfect place inside. And now begin to think about where we are. We are now in the mountains. And we are in a valley, looking all around at all the mountains around us. And just think about it. The trees are there, the pines, and you can smell the scent of pine in the air. The air is crisp and clean, like it is after a fresh rain. And if you look off to the side, there's a creek. And you can hear it as it just runs across the rocks. And it's so peaceful here and beautiful. And now as you look in front of you, you see a path that's winding up the mountain. And so you begin to walk toward it and get on that path and begin walking up. The walk is easy and free. Your breathing is light and easy as you move along the path easily, freely. And wind around the mountain until you come to this place and there's an outlook there and a bench. So sit in that bench and begin now to think about something that you might want to let go of. Something that's holding you back. Maybe something is showing up in your life that you don't want to be there anymore. Maybe it's a memory of a person that hurts and still causes you pain. Or it's a habit that you want to break. So get in your mind now and take a few moments and just think about what that might be that's holding you back. And now it's beginning time to walk back up again towards the top of the mountain. So easily and freely you move up the mountain. The air is getting thinner now and a little cooler as you go. And you continue to move up the mountain until you're on top of the mountain. And this is the time to think about what your life would be like if you didn't have this thing that you want to release. What would it be like? Would you be freer, happier, more joyful, more peaceful? So think about that. And when you're ready, if you're truly ready to let it go, then just fling it out onto the mountain. And now it's time to come back down the mountain. You're freer. The walk is lighter as you move down. And slowly return down the mountain and return now into this room. So it is.
That was lovely, thank you. So this month we're focusing on the 5 unity principles. And so now it's about the 3rd week in, so I'm going to ask for help when I do this. The first unity principle is God is. Yes, God is. There is one power and one presence in the universe and in my life. God the good, omnipotent. Number 2. I am. I am. It is that of you and that is of God. And is God being projected into visibility as you. Number 3. I think. It is our thoughts, our feelings, our beliefs that create our reality. So every one of us has a completely different reality, even though we're all in this same room. Each one of you are having a completely unique experience right now. Because your thoughts, your feelings, and your beliefs is creating your reality right now. Wow. Such a privilege to presence these things, to become aware of these things. Number 4. I pray. I pray. This is how we connect to that higher self, to the God within us. And we in Unity focus on prayer as one of our 5 principles because there's power in prayer and we believe that and we practice it daily. And then the 5th principle. I live it. Good job. Oh wait, they're up there. You guys really are getting this. Through our thoughts, words, and actions, we live these truths in our lives, and it shows.
Yes.
You go into a church, a Catholic church, and it's a completely different atmosphere and feel in each individual person. There is youth in the people in Unity. There is youth. There's vibrancy. Age doesn't matter. And you feel that. Have you noticed that?
Yes.
I love that. All right, so now thank you for humoring me on the 5 unity principles. Now we're going to have another song that Cerise wrote. And I asked her to tweak the word just slightly because in my unity classes, they're really trying to get us to focus on being, instead of, being as God. Everything that I do as God. So, Cerise, go ahead and take this.
Okay, we're gonna be big as God. Who's ready to be big as God today? I mean, you guys knew all of the unity principles. I was so proud of you. So you got this. I'm gonna be big. I'm gonna be big as God. I'm gonna speak out. I'm gonna speak out for love. I'm I'm gonna live loud, a life with no regrets. I'm gonna go now, 'cause now is all we get. I'm gonna break free to live in perfect harmony. I'm gonna break free, I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna live loud as God. I'm gonna say yes to my good right now. I'm gonna let go of all my fear and doubt. I'm gonna go forward to bring a change about. I'm gonna go forth, I'm gonna let go. I'm gonna say yes as God. I'm gonna break free, I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna live loud as God. I'm gonna shine bright, I'm gonna speak out. I'm gonna be big as God. I'm gonna be big as God.
Theme song for the month. Yes, the theme was inspired by Cerise's song this month. And so, yes, being big as God refers to speaking out for love. Sorry. And then shining our lights brightly, living loud without regrets, breaking free of fear and doubt, and saying yes to our good. Living in harmony. Being a catalyst for change, just to name a few. All of these ways of being big in big ways. And this month we're exploring how the roots of our unity teachings first invite us into it with alluring, with a calling, with an inner nudge. Ernest Holmes said it so clearly in his book, The Basic Ideas of Science of Mind. He said, there is something within us all which constantly pushes us forward, which demands continued progress. It is what keeps us going ahead, because it is what we are demanding expression. We must be moving forward into a higher and more satisfying spiritual nature. And as we explore the invitation, that inner nudging to be big as God, next, our teachings instruct us on exactly, precisely how to move into that bigger space and place. And so if you missed those talks and you want to go back to them, you can find them online on YouTube. Just look up Unity Church of Sun Lakes and you can go back and re-listen to those talks. And then last week we looked at a 5-step instruction for being big as God. Our teachings inspire us and motivate us to want to go there. And that's where we're going to go today. And finally, next week, we'll explore how our teachings infuse us with enthusiasm for living in this larger, more profound, more on purpose, bigger way, which will then inspire and give us the fortitude to keep moving forth, even when life doesn't go as we planned it, or when we get disappointed or scared or frustrated. So today, as I said, we're going to explore the inspiration found in our teachings to be big as God. I researched the word inspire and found that it comes from a compound Latin term made up of the word in, meaning inside, or into, and the verb spirare, meaning to breathe. inspirare in Latin means to blow or to breathe into. And in spiritual doctrine, it came to mean divinely breathed into. So literally, to be inspired is to have God breathe us. I love the words from Charles Fillmore in Talks on Truth, page 72. There is within every man such a place, the secret place of the Most High, our higher self. This is the point, that man understands what it is to be inspired by the Holy Spirit, to say and do things that are extraordinary in the sight of the world. Or said another way, and this is the point, that man understands what it is to have God breathe him to say and do things extraordinary in the sight of the world. It will guide us and breathe itself into us so that we might not just speak out for love, but be strong, powerful, use our voice for the healing power of love. Not just shine our lights, but ramp up the wattage in our internal lights. And not just live out loud without regret, fear, or doubt, but stand tall and firm in our bold and magnificent selves. Not just say yes to our good, but outstretch our arms and welcome the pouring forth of abundance of the universe into our experience. And not just live in harmony, but sway with the rhythm and cadence of life itself. All of life has rhythm when you're in the flow. Not just to be a catalyst for change, but be willing to stand up and to be counted as those who choose to make a big difference in the world. So my friends, what inspires you to be big as God? The infinite presence of life itself is ready to breathe itself into your experience. Yes, you. And so every time that you are inspired by a beautiful sunset, the smile of a baby, a piece of music, which inspired this month's talk, our wonderful unity teachings, sitting on a sailboat in the middle of the ocean, walking through a forest, one of my personal favorites, hiking up a mountain, reading or hearing words of wisdom. Every time you are inspired by any of these things, Spirit is breathing itself in you. However, it is expressed in the world of our human experience. It comes from the same place in spirit, the intelligence of the universe. Let me suggest two other ways in our human experience that we can be inspired. There are two other ways in our human experience that we can let God breathe its bigness into us. And to do so, I'm going to use a phrase coined by New Thought minister Dr. Michael Beckwith. He once said, "We are either pushed by pain or pulled by a vision." Now, of course, we would all much rather be pulled by a vision than pushed by pain.
Yeah.
That seems much nicer and a whole lot more fun to me. But I actually believe that inspiration which comes when we are being pushed by pain can be some of the most remarkable and life-changing inspirations for us. And it can propel us into levels of bigness that we really would not have been able to reach if we had not had that pain. Can I get an amen? Amen. You know, all of us in this room we've all been pulled or pushed by pain. How many of you started coming to Unity because you had pain? Yeah. We're all in good company. Holmes also acknowledged this phenomenon when he wrote, "We give intelligence outlet in two ways. By pure inspiration and intuition." That's the vision part. By pure inspiration and intuition. Or the way of bitter experience. And that's the pain. And with most of us, it is through the latter. I was processing this talk, and I was thinking about ways that we are all inspired. I started thinking about being inspired by other people, just in general. There's many of you in this church I'm inspired by. Incredibly inspired by. And then how really inspired I can get by people who've overcome challenges that I'm struggling with. And that's God too, putting those people in my path. So I've asked someone in our congregation to share an experience a challenge that she's overcome recently. And so help me welcome Ela Cabral to share.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you. I also will use my teacher voice, Mark.
I can't hear her.
So, my name is Ela, spelled E-L-A, and a lot of people pronounce it Ella. It's Ela, and it's a story behind that. And so I went through a phase that I thought, I'm tired of correcting people that it's Ela, not Ella. I went through a phase, I'll change my name. Then I thought, well, what do I change it to? But Goddess was already taken. So then I thought, okay, how about Princess? And then I thought, oh no, but there's already over 20 Disney princesses. I went back to just correcting people, and it's Ela. So, an inspiration as big as God. I have an inspiration actually turned into a life lesson from a small child who never uttered a word to me. So let me begin with, I believe that inspirations are totally personal, and each of us have them, and we design, I believe, a blueprint for our journey to provide us with the opportunities that inspire us mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And I believe many opportunities we receive may not seem to initially reflect a positive journey, but one never knows until we jump into that vortex. One such opportunity for an inspiration presented itself to me in 2005. It was the first of 2 cancers I had. I was diagnosed with myeloproliferative blood disorder, a form of leukemia, and a bone marrow transplant was needed to save my life. I was admitted into the City of Hope, a cancer research hospital in Duarte, California, for the transplant and recovery. My treatment consisted of a 10-day dose of an experimental chemotherapy. Experimental because I was in the first test group, and data was needed for continued research. One nurse described the form of chemo I received as a toxin so elevated as to obliterate, and those were her words, obliterate my body with a high risk of complications. This is why I was asked to sign a waiver not to hold City of Hope responsible in case of death. My recovery also consisted of complete isolation because my immune system was wiped out, and exposure to bacteria was a high risk. Only doctors and nurses were allowed in my hospital room while friends and family peered through a 30 by 40 glass window into my room in order to see me and used a speakerphone to communicate. It was a long 3-month journey in that hospital. Although I grew stronger spiritually, living in isolation and the effects of the chemo started to affect me physically and emotionally. So I'd like to read you about an experience I had as I faced this challenge that gave me a wonderful inspiration. There was a support group at City of Hope that was led by Julie Davey. And they were for cancer survivors. And so we wrote, and just as the title says, Writing for Wellness. And so she collected all our writings and published it, and all the profits go back to City of Hope. So I'll read one that I wrote. It's called Through a Child's Eyes. I was in my 4th week in room 6211 in the bone marrow transplant unit at City of Hope, getting increasingly depressed and stuck in a crying jag. Everything made me cry. Despite daily visits from doctors, specialists, nurses, technicians, cafeteria staff, and family who were looking out for my health and well-being, I couldn't shake the black mood I was spiraling into and going down fast. Dr. Nakamura wrote a referral to the psychiatric department for an initial visit. A PhD from Seattle doing a summer internship was assigned to my case. Young, still wet behind the ears, tall, and about 26 years old, he was half my age. I knew he still had a lot to learn and still needed to pay his dues, so I did a quick study of his psychiatric game and answered all of his questions, gave all the right answers, made all the appropriate gestures and body movements. I was aware of his studying observations of me while he wrote his case notes. I also knew immediately that this path wasn't the quick fix I was looking for. I wanted to jump out of the depression, and I wanted to do it fast, like yesterday. I knew intellectually what was happening, but I felt I had no control. I felt helpless and continued to look for an answer. It came on a Thursday, 3 days later. As I attempted a short walk in the hallway outside my room, I spotted a small red flyer wagon heading my way. It was being pulled by 2 female nurses. Sitting in the wagon was a 2-year-old girl surrounded by blankets, pillows, balloons, and stuffed animals. Like me, she had received a bone marrow transplant. As we approached one another, I saw she was bald. As we approached one another, I saw she was bald and her red cheeks were swollen and as big as a chipmunk's. In a split second, we looked at one another. I had never seen a cancer baby. She was my first. As our eyes met, she started to laugh and point at me. I guess she liked the fact that we both were bald, and what she did next gave me the answer I was seeking. She tugged at a yellow balloon tied to her small wrist and offered it to me. I was at a loss for words. Stunned, I pointed back to myself. For me? She laughed her response, nodding her head. I looked at one of her nurses for confirmation, and she also nodded. I took the balloon and wanted to hug the tiny child, but I couldn't take the chance because we were both guarded with masks and gloves. My answer came in what I saw in her eyes. I saw my rebirth. I saw hers. I saw that she and I were the same, struggling to live in the present, looking forward to a new life. We were both dealt the cancer cards, and we chose to deal life back into them. It didn't matter her age or mine. We were both the same. I saw that life could still have laughter and potential. She had both. Why couldn't I? As the nurses continued to pull her down the hallway in the wagon, I returned to my room and saw a different view outside my window. Instead of the dark and ominous San Gabriel Mountains looming in the distance, I could see the rocky path I needed to climb to the top of the mountain. So, an inspiration as big as God. Who knew I would find it in a 2-year-old cancer baby? So, I leave you with this. What challenge has presented you for an opportunity to inspire you both emotionally, physically, and spiritually? Thank you for this opportunity to share out my inspiration.
So yes, when we are pushed by pain or fear, doubt, being mesmerized by conditions and circumstances, or however we want to describe it, we can be inspired by those who have walked similar paths before us. And then there is the gentler and of course very effective inspiration that comes from being pulled by our vision. I'm so very pulled by our church's vision to be bigger this year as God. For us to be that vision that we might be bigger in spiritual development and in conscious abundance for all of us. And for then us to share that with the world just by being big as God. So earlier, a couple weeks ago, you identified some ways how you can, that will inspire you into action, into choices, and into thinking, into decisions, into ways that you would relate to the world. So let your own vision for yourself pull you and inspire you into being big as God. Charles Fillmore said in Talks in Truth, "There is within every one of us the secret place of the Most High. And when we find this place and accept its privilege as ours, we are let into the realm of pure metaphysics, where mind alone, with all its transcendent powers, holds free, untrammeled sway. This is the point in everyone where God joins hands with us and where the Word of God finds entrance into our consciousness. It is here that we understand what it is to be inspired by the Spirit, to say and do things extraordinary in the sight of the world. I invite you to take inspiration to be big as God, as these final words from a person in small stature and yet gigantic in her God-beingness, as Mother Teresa. This is wise counsel on being inspired to be big as God. She says, life is an opportunity. Benefit from it. Life is beauty. Admire it. Life is bliss. Taste it. Life is a dream. Realize it. Life is a challenge. Meet it. Life is a duty. Complete it. Life is a game. Play it. Life is costly. Care for it. Life is wealth. Keep it. Life is love. Enjoy it. Life is mystery. Know it. Life is a promise. Fulfill it. Life is sorrow. Overcome it. Life is a song. Sing it. Life is a struggle. Accept it. Life is tragedy. Confront it. Life is an adventure. Dare it. Life is luck. You make it. Life is so precious. Embrace it. Life is God in manifestation. So live it. And so it is. And now let's say our affirmation together. Today I am big as God. I shine bright, so the world sees my light. I break free and live in perfect harmony. And now it is time for our offering. Tithing is a spiritual practice of giving back to where one receives spiritual sustenance. Your offerings make a difference in how this church is financially sustained, and we are truly grateful for your offerings. So let's say our offering statement together. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, and all that I circulate. I am so blessed. Thank you, God. And now let's sing our offering song together by Karen Drucker, God is my source. Oh,
Today's the 22nd.
we can sing it a cappella. Okay. Alright. We'll just do it without music? Yeah. Okay. Yeah? Or you have it?
I don't know where it is. Sorry,
Okay.
I didn't find
We'll
it.
just sing it a cappella as we pass the baskets. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power, He gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. He gives me everything I need. He gives me everything I need. Thank you. And so we take these gifts in mind. We also, many of us offer our tithes online. So we take that act, that energy, our energy that we put into the universe, and we say this offering of gratitude together. We give thanks for these many blessings of today, and know they are the symbol of the inexhaustible substance of the universe. I give thanks that 10 times this much or more is now on its way to me and quickly manifests in perfect ways. Thank you, God. Now it is time for our announcements. Do we have a volunteer for being a prayer partner today? Barbara Kelly will meet you in the back over here if you would like personal prayer today. Thank you, Barbara. And then, do we have an announcement about the crochet and knitting, Dennis?
We're meeting Tuesdays. Thursdays at 1.
Thursdays at 1.
At Laura Hanson's.
At Laura Hanson's house. When does that start?
It started last week.
Oh,
Or
great.
This week.
Oh, great.
It's last week, yeah.
Our next board meeting is going to be February 19th, and that is held at Maria's house. So if anyone is interested in coming, all are welcome to come to the board meeting. And then we are going to have our annual meeting on February. It's the last Sunday of February. And all of you are welcome. You'll hear the financials of the church and plans, and we want you to come. We want your voice to be heard of what you would like to happen. So all is welcome. And then the prosperity class, which is taught by Dennis, all are welcome to sign up for that as well. We didn't have anybody sign up, and so we pushed it out. Did you want to say more about that?
No, just that it'll be starting February 28th.
February 28th.
Class.
Okay. Yes, it's a SEE class, so if anyone is looking to get credit for SEE classes towards licensed Unity teacher or ministerial tract, if you have any interest in it, you can ask me or Dennis about it as well. They're phenomenal classes. Then we also have a sign-up sheet in the back. We're going to be, do you want to do the announcement about second Sunday as well?
Yeah. This is Kate's.
You all have, that was my teacher voice, a summary of the board meeting. At the annual meeting, you'll hear much of what the feedback that we got from the surveys. We're already taking action to make changes, and one of them, a suggestion that came in, was to have a fellowship period once a month. So on the second Saturday of the month, second Sunday of the month, we're going to go over to Sunrise Grill after the service and have lunch, breakfast, late breakfast, brunch, whatever you want to call it, eating together, breaking bread together. But what we need you to sign up in advance, because Odie will make sure that she calls and gets a reservation for us so that it can go quickly, and they'll be expecting the enormous crowd that I'm sure will be there on the second Sunday. But those summaries are we will start doing that every month after the board meeting so that you see the action of the board. If you have questions about it, we'll be happy to answer them. So that's it. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. And then we always have our prayer team meeting every Wednesday at 10 a.m. If you would like to join that, you can talk to Reverend Julia Norton in the back. And then our Reiki share group every Tuesday at 9:30. And Betty, right here, Betty can help you get plugged into the Reiki share group. Our musicians next week are the Yayas with Barb Horton and Brian Palmerino.
Yay.
And are there any other announcements? Okay. And let's have Cerise come on up and lead us in another song, our final song.
Okay.
No, there's no sorry.
So, if you catch on and you don't know the song, sing. If you do, very likely you do. This song's been around a little while. And if you know it, please sing. It's time to release and let go. We're singing another Ricky Byers song. There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged,
stand and say our prayer for protection together. Thank you, Cerise. Thank you, John. It's not in there. Okay. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever